Hello! In this video I want to share a mixing trick that I've been using for a while but leaned on pretty heavily in my latest album Chroma Dream. It's a simple move, but it really opens up space in the mix and helps the instruments breathe and groove. Now let me show you how this trick works. I've got the saxophone line from the title track of the album, Chroma Dream, lined up here. And to give it a sense of space, I added some delay using Soundtoys' Echo Boy plugin, which is my go-to delay plugin. Now the issue here is that the delay is muddying up the dry recording a bit too much in my taste, and what I really want is for the delay to just fill in the tiny gaps in between the notes and not overshadow the performance. So let's see how we can fix this. And now with Echo Boy. So you can clearly hear that the echo is muddying up the dry signal. Now let's group the effect to turn it into an audio effect track so we can use it in parallel. We'll set the delay to 100% wet, just like you would on a return track, and then we'll create a new chain for the dry, unaffected saxophone signal. Let's add a compressor, enable sidechain, and open up the little input drop-down menu. We'll select the track that we're working on as the input and then open the little drop-down menu below. For those of you who might not be familiar, let me quickly break down the options here. So when you set a track as the input for the sidechain, you can choose to use a signal from a specific chain within that track. In this case, we want to sidechain the delay to the dry signal, so we'll select one of the dry options. But even within this dry chain, there's still 3 settings we can choose from. Pre-effects would send the audio from the chain before any effects are applied, so basically it's just a raw, unprocessed audio. Post-effects would grab the audio and include any effects you might have added to it, giving you the processed signal. With post-mixer, we'd also be getting the audio including the effects, but also taking into account any adjustments you might have made to the volume fader, panning, and any return effects you might have applied. Now in this case, it doesn't really matter if we pick pre or post-effects because there's no effects on our dry signal chain. Now with our compressor set up correctly, let's start tweaking it. Now, the dry saxophone is causing the echo to duck out of the way whenever a note is playing. By adjusting the threshold, we can control how much of the delay is heard while the sax is playing, and the release, on the other hand, determines how quickly the echo comes back in between the notes. Personally, I like to set the release fairly fast to avoid creating a noticeable pumping effect on the echo. If you'd like to support the channel, feel free to subscribe or join us on Patreon, where you'll find lots of sample packs, track stems, and full track breakdown videos. Another advantage of using audio effect tracks is that we can apply additional processing or effects specifically to the wet echo signal. I, for example, like to use an EQ to shape its tone and add a touch of subtle vibrato to the echo to give it a subtle broken tape delay vibe. I like to use a tuner to make sure the vibrato doesn't drift too far out of tune. Let's listen to the entire thing again. Cool, so the delays no longer cloud the saxophone melody and the vibrato adds a subtle vintage character to the sound. I like it. Now there are a few delay plugins out there, such as FabFilter's Timeless, that include advanced features such as the ducking, but actually so does Ableton Live's stock echo effect, so let's have a quick look. I'm gonna set the parameters to values similar to what we had in Echo Boy, and then I'll start playing the saxophone while gradually lowering the threshold to find the right level. Sweet! This technique has other applications too, by the way, like using a sidechain delay on rap vocals.
Cyclone memories swirled over time zones. Cryogenic member berries frozen in limestone. Type these rhymes in the iPhone. Used to pack notebooks with a black biro.
Or a sidechained reverb on a synth bass. I've slightly exaggerated the effect here to make it a bit more obvious, but you get the idea. I'm sure you'll find plenty of cool applications.